Sandra Mitchell ripped the pink pill case from the 8-year-old's fingers. She walked to the galley trash compactor. She pressed the button. The machine crushed butterfly stickers and seizure medication into garbage. Little Emma Johnson screamed so loud that first-class passengers spilled their champagne. What Sandra didn't know was that this black child's father was already in the airport. He had just landed at Terminal 3. He was the most powerful security official in the entire airline, and he was about to cancel her flight, destroy her career, and change aviation history forever. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and follow this incredible story until the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled across the world. Now, let me tell you how one flight attendant's hatred destroyed her 15-year career in exactly 18 minutes. Emma Johnson had never flown alone before. Her daddy had explained everything 3 times at the security checkpoint. Take your medicine at 1 now. Keep your pill case in your pocket. Don't let anyone take it from you. Promise me, baby girl. Promise, Daddy. I promise, Daddy. He had kissed her forehead. He had watched her walk through the special lane for children flying alone. He had waved until she disappeared around the corner. Now she sat in seat 14C of United Airlines Flight 892, watching strangers fill the cabin around her, her pink pill case pressed against her leg through her jeans pocket. She had decorated it herself with butterfly stickers last summer. Her doctor had smiled when he saw it. He said it was the prettiest medicine case he had ever seen. Emma checked her princess watch. 12:47, 13 minutes until she needed her pill. She was going to Seattle to see Grandma and Grandpa. They were too old to fly anymore. Grandpa's knees hurt when he walked. Grandma's heart was not strong enough for airplanes, so Emma was coming to them. She was being brave. She was being a big girl. Her daddy was so proud of her. Flight attendant Sandra Mitchell walked through the cabin, checking seatbelts and overhead bins. She had worked for United Airlines for 15 years. She had never missed a shift. She had never failed an inspection. She followed every rule in every manual. But Sandra Mitchell also had 3 discrimination complaints in her personnel file. 3 quiet settlements, 3 stern conversations with human resources, 3 promises to treat all passengers equally regardless of race. 3 lies. Sandra noticed the little girl in 14C immediately. Black child traveling alone, expensive headphones around her neck, designer backpack at her feet. Sandra's eyes narrowed. In her experience, children like this one were trouble. Entitled, given things they didn't earn. Probably had parents who spoiled her rotten. Probably thought the rules didn't apply to her. Sandra stopped at row 14. You're traveling alone. Emma looked up. The flight attendant's voice wasn't friendly like the gate lady's voice. It was sharp, cold, like the voice her teacher used when someone was in trouble. Yes, ma'am. My daddy put me on the plane. The gate lady walked me to my seat. Where are you going, Seattle? To see my grandma and grandpa. They're too old to fly, so I'm going to them. Sandra didn't smile. How nice for you. Emma felt something twist in her stomach. This lady didn't like her. She could tell, but she didn't know why. She hadn't done anything wrong. What's that in your pocket? Emma looked down. The pink case was visible against her jeans. My medicine. I have epilepsy. Do you know what that means? Sandra's expression didn't change. It means my brain sometimes gets confused and my body shakes. But these pills help my brain stay calm. I have to take one every 6 hours. Daddy says it's very important. Let me see that. Sandra extended her hand. Her fingers were long and thin. Her nails were painted dark red. Emma hesitated. Daddy's words echoed in her head. Don't let anyone take it from you. But this was a grown-up. This was someone who worked on the airplane. Airplane workers were supposed to help children. That's what the gate lady said. Emma pulled out her pink case and handed it over. Sandra opened it. Inside were small white pills in a plastic compartment. No prescription bottle, no pharmacy label, just pills. Where's your prescription? My daddy has it. The bottle was too big for my backpack, so he put the pills in my special case. See the butterflies? I put the stickers on myself. Sandra held the case up to the light. Her mind was already racing. Black child alone with unmarked pills. No adult supervision, no documentation. She had read about this on the internet. Drug traffickers use children now. They were called mules. They carried drugs across the country because no one suspected them. This child fit the profile perfectly. These could be anything. Sandra's voice was loud. Passengers in surrounding rows looked up from their phones. "They're my seizure medicine." Emma's voice trembled. "I need them. Please give them back. How do I know that? How do I know these aren't drugs?" The word hit Emma like a slap. Drugs. She was 8 years old. She didn't really know what drugs were except that they were very bad, and her teacher said to never ever touch them. "They're not drugs." Her voice cracked. "They're medicine. My doctor gives them to me. I get sick without them." "Your doctor?" Sandra loaded the word with doubt. "Do you have proof documentation? Anything?" Emma pointed to her wrist. Her medical alert bracelet caught the cabin lights. Silver chain, small rectangle, engraved words. "I have this. It says I have epilepsy and I need my medicine. See? My daddy got it for me." Sandra barely glanced at it. Anyone could buy fake jewelry online. Anyone could pretend to be sick. This child had been coached. She was sure of it. "I'm confiscating these." Sandra snapped the pink case shut. "You can't bring unidentified substances on my aircraft." "No!" The word burst from Emma's chest. Her eyes went wide with pure terror. "Please, please don't take my medicine. I have to take one at 1 now. That's in 12 minutes. If I don't take it, I could have a seizure. Please, please give it back." Sandra had already started walking toward the galley. Her shoes clicked against the aircraft floor. Click, click, click. Each step taking Emma's safety further away. Emma unbuckled her seatbelt. She stood up in the aisle. Her legs were shaking. "Please, I need my medicine. My daddy said I can't fly without it." Sandra spun around. Her face was twisted with anger. "Sit down. You're creating a disturbance." "But my medicine." Tears poured down Emma's cheeks. "Please, please, I'll get really sick. I could die." The word die hung in the air. Passengers throughout the cabin were watching now. An elderly woman across the aisle leaned forward with concern. A businessman 3 rows back lowered his laptop screen. A mother held her toddler closer. From seat 18A, Dr. Rachel Sullivan watched with growing alarm. She was a pediatric neurologist at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. She had spent 23 years treating children with seizure disorders. She recognized that pink pill case immediately. She recommended the same kind to parents of her young patients. She also recognized genuine terror when she saw it. Emma's rapid breathing, her trembling hands, her desperate pleading. This wasn't acting. This was a child facing a medical emergency. Dr. Sullivan unbuckled her seatbelt. "Excuse me?" Her voice carried the authority of 2 decades in medicine. "I'm a physician. That child appears to have a legitimate medical condition. May I examine the medication?" Sandra stopped walking. She turned to face this new challenger. "Ma'am, return to your seat. This is a crew safety matter. I understand, but that child is showing signs of severe distress. If she has epilepsy, as she claims, this level of stress could trigger a seizure right here on this aircraft." Sandra's jaw tightened. She didn't like being questioned. She especially didn't like being questioned by passengers who thought they knew better than airline professionals with 15 years of experience. "Are you a medical doctor, or did you get your degree from the internet?" Dr. Sullivan's eyes widened at the insult. "I am a board-certified pediatric neurologist at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. I specialize in seizure disorders in children. I can verify within seconds whether that medication is legitimate." Sandra considered this. Then her expression hardened. "Anyone can claim to be a doctor. I'm not releasing potential contraband to unverified individuals." She turned and continued toward the galley. Emma's crying had become sobs. Her small body shook with fear and confusion. Her butterfly case was disappearing toward the front of the plane. Her only protection against seizures was being carried away by a woman who looked at her like she was garbage. "Please." The word came out as a wail. "Please don't take my medicine. I need it. Daddy said I need it." In seat 22C, Tyler Brooks had already opened TikTok. He had 200,000 followers who trusted him to show them truth. He hit the live button without hesitation. His caption read, "Flight attendant just took a sick child's medicine. This is insane. Watch what happens." Within 30 seconds, 500 people were watching. Sandra reached the galley. She looked at the pink case in her hand. Such a small thing. Such an easy problem to solve. Without this medicine, the child would have to get off the plane. The suspicious substances would be gone. Order would be restored. She would be praised for her vigilance. She opened the trash compactor. From row 18, Dr. Sullivan saw what was about to happen. She started pushing through the aisle, but passengers blocked her path. The cabin was too crowded. She was too far away. "Stop!" Her shout echoed through the entire aircraft. "Don't do that. That child's life depends on that medication." Sandra met her eyes across the cabin. A small smile crossed her face, the smile of someone who had power and intended to use it. She dropped the pink pill case into the compactor. She pressed the button. The machine activated with a mechanical whir. Plastic cracked. Pills crushed. Butterfly stickers disappeared into compressed garbage. Emma screamed. The sound was unlike anything the passengers had ever heard. It was primal, raw. The sound of a child watching her safety being destroyed. The sound of innocence meeting cruelty for the first time. Every phone in the surrounding rows came up simultaneously. Passengers who had been minding their own business became witnesses. They became documentarians. They became the jury in a trial that was about to go viral around the world. Tyler Brooks's live stream jumped to 2,000 viewers, then 5,000, then 10,000. Comments flooded faster than anyone could read. Did she really just do that? That poor baby. Someone call the police. This is child abuse. What airline is this? Dr. Sullivan finally reached the galley. She was breathing hard. Her face was flushed with anger and disbelief. "What have you done?" Sandra crossed her arms. "I followed protocol for unidentified substances. That was anti-seizure medication. I recognized the pills before you destroyed them. You just threw away that child's medicine. If she has a medical condition, her parents should have provided proper documentation. That's not my problem. She's 8 years old. She was traveling as an unaccompanied minor. The documentation is in the airline system. The gate agents verified it before she boarded." Sandra's confidence flickered for just a moment, but she had committed now. Backing down would mean admitting she was wrong, and Sandra Mitchell was never wrong. The gate agents don't control what passengers bring onto my aircraft. I made a judgment call based on 15 years of experience. "What judgment?" Dr. Sullivan's voice rose. "She showed you her medical alert bracelet. She explained her condition. She begged you not to take her medicine. What part of that looked suspicious to you?" Sandra's eyes narrowed. "I know what I saw. What did you see? Tell me. What exactly did you see?" "I saw a child with pills who didn't have proper documentation. You saw a black child. That's what you saw. You looked at that little girl and decided she must be a criminal because of how she looked." The accusation hit Sandra like a physical blow. Her face reddened. "That's not true. Race had nothing to do with it." "Then why didn't you check the passenger manifest? Why didn't you call the gate agents? Why didn't you listen to a licensed physician? You had 3 chances to verify her medical condition, and you ignored all of them." Sandra had no answer. The questions hung in the air like accusations. Behind them, Emma had collapsed back into her seat. The elderly woman from across the aisle, Dorothy Phillips, had unbuckled and moved to comfort her. She put her arm around the trembling child and whispered soothing words. "It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay. We're going to fix this somehow." But Emma knew it couldn't be fixed. Her pills were gone, crushed into garbage. In less than 10 minutes, she was supposed to take her 1 dose. Without it, her brain would start getting confused. The electricity would build up. The seizure would come. She had seen videos of herself having seizures. Daddy had shown her so she would understand why the medicine was so important. Her body shook. Her eyes rolled back. Sometimes she bit her tongue and blood came out of her mouth. Sometimes she wet herself. It was scary. It was embarrassing. It was the worst thing in the world. And now it was going to happen on an airplane full of strangers. Daddy. She whimpered the word like a prayer. "I want my daddy." Her phone was in her backpack. Daddy had made sure she knew how to use it. "Just press the green button and my face will appear. If anything goes wrong, call me immediately. Anytime, day or night, I will always answer." With shaking hands, Emma reached for her backpack. She unzipped the front pocket. Her phone was inside, protected by a pink case that matched her pill case. Daddy had bought them as a set. She pulled out the phone. The screen lit up with a picture of her and Daddy at Disneyland last summer. They were both smiling. They were standing in front of Cinderella's castle. That felt like 1,000,000 years ago now. Her finger found the green button. She pressed it. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then his voice, strong and warm and safe. "Hey, baby girl, are you on the plane? Is everything okay, Daddy?" The word dissolved into sobs. Everything she had been holding back came pouring out. "Daddy. The lady took my pills. She threw them away. She put them in the machine and they're gone. I don't have my medicine, Daddy. I'm supposed to take it at 1 and it's almost 1 and the lady threw it away and she was so mean to me and she said I had drugs but I didn't have drugs. I had my medicine and now it's gone and I'm scared, Daddy. I'm so scared." The silence on the other end lasted exactly 2 seconds. When her father spoke again, his voice had changed completely. It was still calm, but it was a different kind of calm. The calm before a hurricane. The calm of a man who had made life and death decisions for 25 years and was about to make another one. "Emma, listen to Daddy. I need you to stay calm. Take deep breaths. Daddy is coming. I'm going to fix this. No matter what happens, I'm going to fix this. Do you understand? Okay, Daddy. Good girl. Now I need you to tell me exactly which flight you're on. United Flight 892 to Seattle. Which gate?" "I don't remember. The lady walked me here." "That's okay, baby. Daddy will find you. Stay on the phone. Don't hang up and don't let anyone else touch you. Daddy's coming. Where are you, Daddy?" Another pause. This one lasted 4 seconds. "I'm in the airport, baby girl. I'm at Terminal 3. My plane from Denver landed 20 minutes ago. I was going to surprise you in Seattle, but now I'm coming to you instead." Emma felt something break open in her chest. Hope. Daddy was here. Daddy was in the same airport. Daddy was coming. But Terminal 3 was far away. The airport was huge. She remembered walking forever when she came through with Daddy last year. "Daddy, what if you don't get here in time? What if I have a seizure before you come? Then the doctor on the plane will help you, and Daddy will make sure everyone who hurt you pays for what they did." "I promise you, Emma, I promise on my life, the people who did this will face consequences they can't imagine." Commander Derek Johnson ended the call with his daughter and immediately made another. His fingers moved across his phone with the precision of someone trained to operate under extreme pressure. He had flown classified missions for the Air Force. He had landed planes in sandstorms. He had stayed calm when engines failed at 30,000 Dietrifta. He had made decisions that determined whether people lived or died. But nothing had ever made him feel like this. His daughter, his 8-year-old daughter, his baby girl, who still believed in Santa Claus and thought butterflies were magic. Some flight attendant had taken her medicine and destroyed it. His child was sitting on an aircraft, terrified and alone. Her only protection against seizures, crushed into garbage by a woman who looked at a black child and saw a criminal. The phone connected on the first ring. United Airlines Operations. This is dispatch. This is Commander Derek Johnson, Director of Flight Operations Security. Employee number 74392. I need an immediate ground stop on Flight 892 at Terminal 5. Authorization code Victor Johnson 773. The dispatcher's voice changed instantly. She recognized the authorization level. Commander Johnson didn't just have authority over security protocols, he was one of 6 people in the entire company who could ground flights without CEO approval. Confirmed, Commander. Flight 892 ground stop effective immediately. May I ask the nature of the emergency medical situation involving an unaccompanied minor passenger, my daughter? A crew member has confiscated and destroyed her prescribed seizure medication. Understood, sir. Should I notify terminal operations? Do it and patch me through to Captain Reynolds on Flight 892. Hold, please. Commander Johnson was already moving through Terminal 3. He walked fast, just short of running. His uniform drew attention. His expression cleared a path. Passengers stepped aside without being asked. Airline employees who recognized his insignia pressed themselves against walls. He passed Gate C9, then C12, then C15. The distance between terminals felt like miles. His phone crackled. Commander Johnson, I have Captain Reynolds on Flight 892. Put him through. A new voice came on the line. This is Captain Reynolds. Captain, this is Commander Derek Johnson, Director of Flight Operations Security. You have an unaccompanied minor passenger on board in seat 14C. Her name is Emma Johnson. She's 8 years old. She has epilepsy. A flight attendant has confiscated and destroyed her prescription seizure medication. Captain Reynolds was silent for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful. Sir, I wasn't aware of any situation in the cabin. That's because your flight attendant didn't report it. Her name is Sandra Mitchell. She took my daughter's medication, accused her of carrying drugs, and threw the pills in the trash compactor. My daughter is currently sitting in your aircraft, terrified and unprotected. Captain Reynolds felt his stomach drop. Commander Johnson, the name was legendary at United Airlines, former Air Force colonel, hired personally by the CEO, the man who rebuilt the entire security apparatus after 9/11. And his daughter was on this flight. Sir, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I'm not interested in apologies right now, Captain. I'm interested in actions. Do not push back from the gate. Do not close the aircraft door. Keep your crew exactly where they are. I will be aboard in approximately 10 minutes. Understood. Commander and Captain, when I get there, Sandra Mitchell better have a very good explanation for why she ignored a child's medical alert bracelet, dismissed a physician's intervention, and destroyed life-saving medication. Because right now, I can think of only one explanation. And if I'm right, her career is over. The call ended. Captain Reynolds sat in his cockpit seat staring at his instruments. In 18 years of flying for United Airlines, he had never received a direct order from the Director of Flight Operations Security. He had never heard of a commander personally intervening on a commercial flight. Something very bad had happened on his aircraft. Something bad enough to bring one of the most powerful men in commercial aviation racing across terminals to confront it. He picked up the intercom. Sandra Mitchell, report to the cockpit immediately. In the galley, Sandra heard the announcement. Her first flutter of unease stirred in her chest. Captain Reynolds never summoned flight attendants to the cockpit during boarding. Something was wrong. She walked toward the front of the aircraft, passing rows of passengers who watched her with expressions ranging from disgust to open hostility. Phones tracked her movement like weapons. Comments piled up in live streams she couldn't see. That's her. That's the one who did it. She looks evil. I hope she gets arrested. Someone find out her name. Sandra ignored them. Whatever was happening, she was confident in her actions. She had followed protocol. She had made a judgment call. Management would support her. They always did. She reached the cockpit door and knocked. Come in. She entered the cramped space. Captain Reynolds and First Officer Davis both turned to look at her. Their expressions made her unease grow stronger. Sandra, I just received a call from Commander Derek Johnson, Director of Flight Operations Security. The name hit Sandra like ice water. He says you confiscated and destroyed medication belonging to a child passenger. His daughter. His daughter. The words echoed in Sandra's mind. Commander Derek Johnson's daughter, the most powerful security official in the company, the man who reported directly to the CEO. The man whose signature was on every protocol manual, every training document, every security procedure in the airline. She had thrown his daughter's medicine in the trash. "Captain, I was following protocol." Her voice sounded thin, even to herself. The child had unmarked pills, no prescription bottle, no documentation. First Officer Davis spoke for the first time. Sandra unaccompanied minors have complete medical information in the passenger manifest system. Did you check the system before confiscating her medication? I didn't need to check any system. I could see what was happening with my own eyes. Black kid with a bag full of pills trying to act innocent. I've seen it before. Drug mules use children now. It's all over the internet. The words hung in the air. Captain Reynolds felt his stomach clench. Sandra, did you just say black kid? I said I used my professional judgment to assess a suspicious situation. You specifically mentioned her race. First Officer Davis's voice was tight. You said black kid. Sandra realized her mistake too late. The words were out. They couldn't be taken back. They had been spoken in a cockpit with a voice recorder running. I didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? Silence. Sandra had no answer that wouldn't make things worse. Captain Reynolds turned back to his instruments. He couldn't look at her anymore. Sandra, Commander Johnson is en route to this aircraft. He has ordered us to hold at the gate until he arrives. When he gets here, whatever happens is going to be very bad for you. I want you to understand that. Whatever you thought you were doing, whatever judgment you thought you were making, it's over now. Your career at this airline is probably over, and honestly, based on what you just said in this cockpit, it should be. Sandra's face had gone white. Her hands were shaking. Captain, please. I've been with this company for 15 years. I've never had a serious complaint. You have 3 discrimination complaints in your file. I looked it up while you were walking here. 3 settlements, 3 promises to do better, and now this. Those were misunderstandings. They were taken out of context. Was this a misunderstanding? Was throwing away a child's seizure medication taken out of context? Sandra had nothing to say. Get out of my cockpit. Captain Reynolds' voice was cold. Go wait in the galley. Don't talk to anyone. Don't touch anything. Don't make this situation any worse than you've already made it. Sandra turned and walked out of the cockpit on legs that felt like they might collapse. In the cabin, the situation had evolved. Dr. Sullivan had taken charge with the calm authority of someone who had handled emergencies for 23 years. She had examined Emma, checking her pulse, her pupils, her responsiveness. The child was scared and exhausted, but she wasn't showing pre-seizure symptoms yet. Yet? That word hung over everything. How long ago was your last dose? Dr. Sullivan asked gently. Emma sniffled. This morning, 7:12. Daddy watched me take it before we left for the airport. Dr. Sullivan checked her watch. 12:58 p.m., almost 6 hours. The therapeutic window was closing. And when are you supposed to take your next one? 1 hour. In 2 minutes, the doctor felt pressure building behind her eyes. This child, this sweet, innocent child, who had done nothing wrong. She was 2 minutes away from missing a critical dose of medication that protected her brain from electrical storms, all because one woman looked at her and saw a criminal instead of a kid. Dr. Sullivan made a decision. She stood up and addressed the passengers in the surrounding rows. I'm Dr. Rachel Sullivan, a pediatric neurologist. This child has epilepsy and needs seizure medication within the next few minutes. Is anyone on this aircraft carrying anti-seizure medication? Specifically, Keppra, Depakote, Topamax, or Lamictal. Passengers looked at each other. Most shook their heads. A few checked their bags just in case. Then a voice from row 27. I have Keppra. A man in his 60s was holding up a prescription bottle. His name was William Thompson. He was flying to Seattle for his granddaughter's college graduation. He had epilepsy himself, diagnosed 40 years ago. He never traveled without his medication. He had watched the entire confrontation. He had seen the flight attendant's cruelty. He had watched the little girl scream when her pills were destroyed. His heart had broken for her. Dr. Sullivan moved quickly down the aisle. "Sir, may I see the medication?" William handed over the bottle. Dr. Sullivan checked the label. "Levetiracetam 500 milligram, the same drug Emma was likely taking. One of the most common anti-seizure medications prescribed to children. This will work. What's the child's usual dose?" She said her pills were smaller than mine, about half the size, so probably 250 milligram. I'll give her half a tablet. It's not perfect, but it will provide protection until we can get her proper medication. She turned back toward Emma's row, already calculating dosages in her head. Dorothy Phillips, the elderly woman who had been comforting Emma, looked up as Dr. Sullivan approached. "Is there something we can do? Do you have anything that can cut a pill in half? A knife, scissors, nail clippers?" Dorothy dug through her purse. "Here, nail clippers. They'll work." Dr. Sullivan carefully cut one of William's pills in half using the clippers. The edge wasn't clean, but it was close enough. She knelt beside Emma's seat. "Sweetheart, my name is Dr. Sullivan. I'm a doctor who helps children with epilepsy. I know you're scared right now. I know a very mean lady took your medicine and threw it away, but I have some medicine here that can help you. It's the same kind you usually take, just from a different bottle. Can you take it for me?" Emma looked at the white half pill in Dr. Sullivan's palm. It wasn't purple like hers. It wasn't from her butterfly case. But Dr. Sullivan had kind eyes. She reminded Emma of her grandmother. "Will it stop me from having a seizure?" "It will help. Yes. I can't promise you won't feel a little strange while we wait for it to work. But I'll be right here watching you, and if anything happens, I'll know exactly what to do." Emma took the pill. Dorothy produced a bottle of water from her bag. Emma swallowed the medication and washed it down. Dr. Sullivan checked her watch. 1:03 p.m. They had made the window. Not by much, but enough. Good girl. That was very brave. "Now, I want you to try to relax. The medicine will take about 30 minutes to start working. During that time, I'm going to sit right here with you. Is that okay?" Emma nodded. She was still scared. She was still crying softly, but the raw panic had subsided. She had medicine now. A doctor was with her, and Daddy was coming. "Daddy!" she suddenly remembered. "I need to tell Daddy!" She picked up her phone. The call was still connected. She had left it on when she reached for her backpack. "Daddy, are you there? I'm here, baby girl." His voice came through immediately. "I heard everything. You took your medicine. A nice doctor gave me some. It's the same kind." "I know. I heard. The doctor's name is Dr. Sullivan. She's going to take good care of you until I get there. How far away are you?" "I'm at Terminal 4 now. I'll be at your gate in about 7 minutes. Can you wait for Daddy for 7 more minutes?" "Yes, Daddy." "Good girl. I'm so proud of you. You're the bravest 8-year-old in the whole world. And when I get there, I'm going to give you the biggest hug. And then I'm going to make sure the lady who hurt you never hurts anyone again." Emma felt warmth spread through her chest. Daddy was coming. Daddy would fix everything. Daddy always fixed everything. Commander Derek Johnson reached Terminal 5. Gate B-17 was straight ahead. He could see the United aircraft through the windows. Flight 892, the plane that held his daughter. He took a breath. He forced his expression into professional calm. He straightened his uniform. Then he walked toward the jet bridge. The gate agent recognized him immediately. Her eyes went wide. "Commander Johnson, I didn't know you were. Is there a problem?" "There's a problem on that aircraft. I'm handling it personally. Sir, should I call security?" "Security is already here." He walked past her onto the jet bridge. "I am security." His footsteps echoed on the metal floor, heavy, deliberate, the sound of consequences approaching. In the cabin, Passengers heard the footsteps and turned toward the door. Tyler Brooks's live stream had reached 200,000 viewers. The comments were moving too fast to read. Everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. Sandra Mitchell stood frozen in the galley. She had heard about Commander Johnson from the captain. She knew he was coming, but she still wasn't prepared for what she saw when he appeared in the aircraft doorway. He was tall, 6'3", broad shoulders, 4 stripes on his uniform sleeves, an additional insignia that marked him as something far more than an ordinary pilot. His expression was calm, too calm. The calm of a man holding back a hurricane through pure force of will. But his eyes were terrifying. They swept the cabin, taking in everything, the recording phones, the nervous passengers, the flight attendants pressed against the galley walls, the elderly woman comforting a child, the doctor sitting protectively in the adjacent seat, and finally his daughter. Emma saw him at the same moment. "Daddy." The word broke something in the cabin. Passengers who had been watching with detached interest suddenly felt tears in their eyes. This wasn't just a story. This wasn't just viral content. This was a father coming for his child. This was love cutting through cruelty. Commander Johnson walked down the aisle. Passengers pressed back into their seats to let him pass. His stride was measured and deliberate. The walk of a man who knew exactly what he was going to do. He reached row 14 and knelt beside Emma's seat. "Hey, baby girl." His voice was soft, meant only for her. "Daddy's here. Everything's going to be okay now." Emma threw herself into his arms. She sobbed against his chest. 8 years of trust and safety pouring out in that embrace. "She was so mean, Daddy. She took my pills and threw them away. She called me bad words. She looked at me like I was garbage." Commander Johnson held his daughter close. His jaw was tight. His arms were gentle. The contrast between his exterior calm and his interior fury was almost visible. "You are not garbage, Emma. You are not bad. You did nothing wrong. The lady who hurt you is the one who did wrong, and Daddy is going to make sure she understands that." He looked up at Dr. Sullivan. "You're the doctor who helped my daughter." "Yes, Dr. Rachel Sullivan, Pediatric Neurology, Northwestern Memorial. Another passenger had compatible medication. I gave Emma half a tablet about 8 minutes ago. Her vitals are stable." Commander Johnson felt something ease in his chest. The immediate medical danger had passed. His daughter was safe. "Dr. Sullivan, thank you. Thank you for doing what the crew should have done. I will never forget this. She did it to herself, Commander. That flight attendant. No one made her destroy your daughter's medication. No one made her ignore the medical bracelet. No one made her dismiss my assessment. She did it because she looked at Emma and saw what she wanted to see." "I know." His voice hardened. "I know exactly what she saw." He stood slowly. His hand remained on Emma's shoulder. His eyes found Sandra Mitchell. She was trying to make herself invisible against the galley wall. It wasn't working. Sandra Mitchell. His voice filled the cabin. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Every word carried the weight of 25 years of authority. Sandra stepped forward. Her legs were shaking. "Yes, sir. Tell me what happened." Sandra swallowed hard. She had rehearsed this in her mind. A calm, professional explanation. Protocol and procedure, safety concerns, standard operations. "I was conducting a pre-departure cabin check. I observed the child with unmarked pills. I confiscated them according to protocol for unidentified substances. I disposed of them in accordance with regulations regarding potential contraband." Commander Johnson listened without expression. When she finished, he let the silence stretch. 10 seconds, 20 long enough for sweat to appear on Sandra's forehead. Then he spoke. "You're lying, sir. Not about the events, about the reasoning. You didn't confiscate my daughter's medication because of protocol. You did it because you looked at a black child with pills and decided she must be a criminal. I never said you did. Captain Reynolds and First Officer Davis heard you say it in the cockpit. The words black kid came out of your mouth when you were defending your actions." The cockpit voice recorder captured everything. Do you deny it? Sandra's mouth opened and closed. The trap had sprung. There was no escape. I didn't mean it like... How did you mean it? Commander Johnson's voice cut like a blade. Explain to me how you meant it. Explain to everyone recording on their phones. Explain to the 200,000 people watching this conversation live on the internet, because right now they all want to know how you meant it when you looked at an 8-year-old epileptic child and decided she was a drug mule. The number hit the cabin like a bomb. 200,000 people watching live recording Sandra's destruction in real time. I made a mistake. Her voice cracked. A mistake. Commander Johnson let the word hang. My daughter could have died because of your mistake. If Dr. Sullivan hadn't intervened, if another passenger hadn't shared medication, Emma could have had a seizure at $35,000 FT. Do you know what happens when an epileptic child has a grand mal seizure on an aircraft with no emergency medical facilities? I didn't know she was really sick. You didn't want to know. That's different. You didn't check the passenger manifest that contained her medical information. You didn't examine her medical alert bracelet. You didn't listen when a licensed physician tried to intervene. You didn't do any of those things because you had already decided what my daughter was based on how she looked. Sandra had nothing left. No excuses, no defenses, no allies. She stood alone in the aisle of an aircraft, surrounded by witnesses to her cruelty. Commander Johnson turned to address the entire cabin. My name is Derek Johnson. I am the Director of Flight Operations Security for United Airlines. I've worked for this company for 15 years. I've trained thousands of crew members. I've developed protocols that have kept millions of passengers safe. He paused. His hand still rested on Emma's shoulder. Today, those protocols failed my daughter. Not because they're inadequate, but because one person chose to ignore them. One person looked at an 8-year-old girl with epilepsy and saw a threat instead of a child. One person destroyed medication that could have saved a life and called it protocol. His voice carried to every corner of the cabin. What happened today is not acceptable. It will never be acceptable, and it will have consequences. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Ed, it's Derek. I'm on flight 892. I need this flight canceled. All passengers rebooked with full refunds plus $500 compensation. And I need HR, legal, and communications on a conference call in 30 minutes. The voice on the other end responded immediately. CEO Edward Montgomery didn't ask questions. He didn't challenge the decision. He simply agreed. Commander Johnson hung up and addressed the cabin once more. Ladies and gentlemen, United Airlines Flight 892 to Seattle has been canceled. This decision was made by me, and I take full responsibility. Ground staff will assist with rebooking and compensation. Please gather your belongings and deplane in an orderly fashion. Gasps echoed through the cabin. An entire flight canceled. Hundreds of passengers, thousands of connections, millions of dollars in costs for one child. A man in first class raised his hand. I have a meeting in Seattle that could cost my company $100,000 if I miss it. You're canceling the flight because of a personal matter. Commander Johnson met his eyes. Sir, I understand your frustration, but let me ask you something. If this was your daughter, would you call it a personal matter? If your 8-year-old child was humiliated and endangered by someone who was supposed to protect her, would you expect the airline to cover it up quietly, or would you want them to take a stand? The man had no answer. This flight is being canceled because everyone on this aircraft needs to understand that what happened here matters. Discrimination is not a customer service issue. It's not a misunderstanding to be settled with vouchers and apologies. It's a choice, and choices have consequences. He turned back to Sandra. Sandra Mitchell, you are terminated from United Airlines effective immediately. You will surrender your badge and wings to Captain Reynolds. You will be escorted from this aircraft by airport security. You are permanently banned from all United Airlines property. And when the lawyers finish their work, you will face personal liability for every consequence of your actions today. Sandra started crying. The tears streamed down her face, mixing with mascara, destroying the professional appearance she had maintained for 15 years. please." Her voice was barely a whisper. "I have a family, children, a mortgage, 15 years of service, and in 18 minutes you destroyed all of it." Commander Johnson showed no sympathy. "Your mortgage isn't my concern. Your children aren't my concern. My concern is the 8-year-old girl behind me who will have nightmares about today. My concern is every black child who will board a flight wondering if they'll be treated like a criminal. My concern is making sure that what you did to my daughter never happens to anyone else." He stepped closer to Sandra. His voice dropped so only she could hear. "I served in the Air Force for 20 years before joining United. I flew missions that don't exist in any official record. I've seen people die. I've made decisions that ended lives. And I have never felt as much rage as I feel right now looking at you. The only thing stopping me from completely destroying you is my daughter watching. So be grateful she's here. Be grateful she's keeping me human. Because if she wasn't, this conversation would be going very differently." Sandra shrank back from the quiet fury in his voice. Captain Reynolds appeared in the cockpit doorway. "Commander Johnson, airport security is on the jet bridge." "Good." Commander Johnson stepped back from Sandra. "Ensure Miss Mitchell surrenders her credentials and is escorted off the property. She is not to return to any United Airlines facility ever." "Yes, sir." 2 airport security officers came down the aisle. Their faces were professionally neutral, but their eyes showed clear disgust as they looked at Sandra. "Ma'am, please come with us." Sandra removed her wings with trembling fingers. The small pin that she had worn with such pride for 15 years suddenly felt like a brand of shame. She handed it to Captain Reynolds without meeting his eyes. Her badge followed. Employee ID 38847. 15 years of service reduced to a piece of plastic being surrendered in disgrace. The security officers flanked her. She walked down the aisle between rows of passengers who watched her pass with undisguised contempt. Some lifted their phones higher to capture her face. Others turned away as if looking at her was distasteful. At the aircraft door, she paused. She turned back toward Commander Johnson, toward Emma, toward the ruins of everything she had built. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I hope someday you can forgive me." Commander Johnson didn't acknowledge the words. His attention had already shifted to his daughter. Sandra Mitchell walked off Flight 892 into the cold fluorescent light of the jet bridge. Behind her, the cabin buzzed with passengers preparing to deplane. The normal sounds of airport operations continued as if her world hadn't just ended. Within an hour, her name would be in every major newspaper. Within a day, her face would be recognized on streets across America. Within a week, she would be unemployable in any public-facing industry. But all of that was still to come. Right now, she simply walked one foot in front of the other toward security processing, toward unemployment, toward the consequences of 18 minutes that had destroyed 15 years. In row 14, Commander Derek Johnson lifted his daughter into his arms. She was getting too big to be carried, but today she needed it. Today she was his baby girl again. "It's over, sweetheart. The bad lady is gone. Daddy's here now." Emma pressed her face against his shoulder. She could hear his heartbeat strong and steady. The sound that meant home, the sound that meant safety. "I was so scared, Daddy, I know. But you were so brave. You called me. You told me what happened. You let the doctor help you. I'm so proud of you, Emma. So incredibly proud." They started walking toward the aircraft door. Passengers watched them pass with expressions of solidarity and respect. Some murmured encouragement. Some simply nodded. At the jet bridge entrance, Dr. Sullivan was waiting. "Commander Johnson, I want to give you my card. If Emma needs any follow-up care, if she experiences any side effects, please don't hesitate to contact me." He took the card with genuine gratitude. "Dr. Sullivan, you saved my daughter today. I don't know how to thank you for that. I did what any doctor should do. I just wish I hadn't needed to." She looked at Emma with kind eyes. "You're going to be okay, sweetheart. Your daddy is going to take care of you. And whenever you get scared, remember how brave you were today. You spoke up. You asked for help. You did everything right. Thank you for helping me." Emma's voice was small but sincere. "You were nice when the mean lady was mean." Dr. Sullivan felt tears threaten. She blinked them back. "Always speak up when something is wrong, Emma. Never let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve kindness. You matter. Remember that." Commander Johnson shifted his daughter in his arms and shook Dr. Sullivan's hand. "When this becomes a legal matter, I hope you'll agree to testify about what you witnessed without hesitation, Commander." They parted ways in the terminal. Dr. Sullivan headed toward the rebooking counter. Commander Johnson carried Emma toward the United Airlines executive lounge. William Thompson, the man who had shared his medication, caught up with them. "Sir, I just wanted to say how sorry I am for what happened to your little girl. I've had epilepsy my whole life. I know how scary it is when you can't get your medication. I'm glad I could help." Commander Johnson freed one hand to shake Williams. "Mr. Thompson, you might have saved my daughter's life today. When Dr. Sullivan administered your medication, she prevented a seizure that could have happened at 35,000 FT. That's not a small thing. It was just a pill. It was everything." William's eyes glistened. "My granddaughter is graduating from college this weekend. That's why I'm going to Seattle. She's the first person in our family to get a degree. I was thinking about her when I saw what was happening to your daughter. I thought about what I would want someone to do if my granddaughter was in trouble." Commander Johnson felt emotion tighten his throat. "Congratulations on your granddaughter's graduation. You raised her right. Her mother did most of it. I just loved her. That's the most important part." They shook hands again. William walked away toward the rebooking counter. Commander Johnson watched him go, holding his daughter, thinking about grandfathers and generations and the simple kindness of strangers. "Daddy, yes, baby girl, is the mean lady going to jail?" Commander Johnson considered his answer carefully. "The mean lady is going to face consequences for what she did. She lost her job. She can never work for an airline again. People all over the world saw what she did on their phones, and they're going to remember her name. That's a kind of punishment. But she hurt me. Shouldn't she go to jail for hurting me? Sometimes the consequences for hurting people aren't jail. Sometimes they're losing everything you worked for. Sometimes they're having everyone know what kind of person you really are. Sometimes they're having to live with your mistakes forever." Emma thought about this. "I don't want her to be sad forever." Commander Johnson held his daughter tighter. "That's because you're a good person, Emma. You can feel sorry for someone even when they hurt you. That's not weakness. That's strength. But feeling sorry for someone doesn't mean they shouldn't face consequences. It just means you haven't let their meanness make you mean, too." Emma nodded slowly. She was 8 years old. She didn't fully understand everything that had happened today, but she understood that her father loved her. She understood that the nice doctor had helped her. She understood that the man with the pills had been kind. And she understood that sometimes the world had mean people in it, but there were more good people than mean ones. "Daddy?" "Yes." "Can we call Grandma and Grandpa? They're probably worried because my plane didn't come." "Of course, baby girl. We'll call them right now." Commander Johnson pulled out his phone and dialed his parents. His mother answered on the first ring. "Derek, is everything okay?" The airline called and said Emma's flight was canceled. "Mom, Emma's fine. She's right here with me. There was an incident on the plane, but she's safe. I'm with her now. What kind of incident is she hurt?" "She's not hurt. But something happened that you need to know about. I'll explain everything when we get there. We're booking a new flight now. We should be in Seattle tonight." "Derek, you're scaring me. What happened?" Commander Johnson looked at his daughter. She was watching him with big eyes, waiting to hear what he would say. "Mom, a flight attendant hurt Emma today. Not physically, but she hurt her. She took away her medication. She accused her of carrying drugs. She made her cry in front of everyone." The silence on the other end was heavy. Derek. His mother's voice was tight. Tell me that woman is no longer employed by the airline. She's not. I made sure of it. Good. Another pause. Let me talk to my grandbaby. Commander Johnson handed the phone to Emma. Hi, Grandma. Hi, sweetheart. Grandma heard you had a scary day. I did. A mean lady took my pills and threw them away. She said I had drugs. But I didn't have drugs, Grandma. I had my medicine. I know, baby. I know you didn't do anything wrong. You were just being a good girl taking your medicine like the doctor told you. Emma's lip trembled. Grandma? She looked at me really mean, like I was bad, like she hated me. I don't know why she hated me. On the other end of the phone, Eleanor Johnson felt her heart break. She was 73 years old. She had experienced racism her entire life. She had hoped foolishly, perhaps, that things would be different for her granddaughter's generation. But here was Emma, 8 years old, asking why a stranger hated her. Some people have sickness in their hearts, baby. It makes them see ugliness where there isn't any. That lady didn't hate you because of who you are. She hated you because of who she is. That's not your fault. That's never your fault. Daddy said she got in trouble. She did. And she deserved it. But more important than that is you. You are beautiful and smart and kind. You are loved by your daddy and your grandma and grandpa and everyone who knows you. Don't let one mean person make you forget that. I won't. Grandma, good girl. Now give the phone back to your daddy and I'll see you tonight. Grandma is going to make your favorite dinner. Mac and cheese with the breadcrumbs on top. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, sweetheart. More than all the stars in the sky. Emma handed the phone back to her father. Commander Johnson brought the phone to his ear. Mom, Derek, when you get here, I want you to tell me everything. Everything that woman did, everything she said. I want to know it all. I'll tell you, Mom, but right now, I need to take care of some things at the airline. There's going to be a meeting, policy changes. This isn't going to get swept under the rug. Make sure it doesn't. Eleanor's voice hardened. What happened to Emma today happens to black children every day. Most of them don't have a father who can cancel flights and fire employees. Make sure this changes something. Make sure it matters. I will, Mom. I promise. Good. Now go take care of my grandbaby. I'll see you both tonight. The call ended. Commander Johnson looked at his daughter. She looked back at him with tired eyes. The day had drained her completely. Let's go, baby girl. We have some work to do. They walked together toward the executive lounge. Behind them, Gate B-17 stood empty. Flight 892 would never complete its journey. 163 passengers were scattered throughout the terminal rebooking flights, collecting compensation, sharing their experiences on social media. Tyler Brooks's live stream had reached 3 million views. The video was being shared across every platform. News networks were interrupting regular programming. The hashtag Justice for Emma was trending worldwide. The story was just beginning. But for Emma Johnson, the worst was over. She had her father. She had her medicine. She had survived. And somewhere in the airport, walking towards security processing and unemployment and disgrace, Sandra Mitchell was learning what happened when prejudice met power. The lesson would be expensive. It would be public and it would be permanent.